What's growing? Andrew, Fairweather Farmer, and today we're talking about garlic scapes. So, why do we harvest them? When do we harvest them? And how do we harvest them? So if we don't take the garlic scapes, what will happen is that the flowers, they will go vertical, and this part right here will open up and there will be seeds inside of it. And if these seeds go into the ground, they'll make baby garlic plants, which technically you could use to reproduce your garlic, but it would take about 7 years to get a real good sized garlic. So when we plant, we use the cloves. So what we actually need to be doing is we need to be removing these scapes at this time. So what I do is I go right where the middle stem is and the top leaf, and right there is where I'm going to remove the garlic scape. And I don't want to leave too much extra stem there. And basically for the timing of this, you want to have a piece that has done roughly 2 turns. So it should look more or less like this, kind of like a pig's tail. So if you have taken your garlic flowers too early or too late, it impacts your yield and your flavor. So if you harvest the scapes too late, first of all, the scapes will become woody, so it becomes a lot more difficult to sell and to eat them. There becomes a good amount of the bottom part that you have to cut because it's too chewy. And then the garlic plant will have wasted too much energy into creating seeds and flowers, so it won't have as much energy to put into creating a nice good sized bulb. And if you do it too early, the plant will have extra energy, but the plant might become a little bit too spicy. So you want to try and get 1 to 2 turns on each garlic scape. So we've talked about when, we've talked about how and why. So let me just do a little bit of a demonstration in terms of like technique in how we can do this efficiently. So right now we are the 20th of June here in Papineau, Quebec, in a zone 4B. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm dragging my bin along behind me. I'm using both hands and I'm always looking ahead with my eyes. So my eyes are always ahead of my hands, looking at where the next one I'm going to go is. If there's any pest damage, we don't take those. We still remove them from the plant, but we put them to the floor. If you want to really have proper technique, you should actually be removing these from the garden, because that pest damage is because of leek moth, and you will actually be giving them some food to chew on by throwing the pieces that are too small or damaged onto the ground. And I'm making sure as best as I can not to miss any of these, because any of them that miss and go to flower, that garlic will become very small. And then what we're going to be doing with these scapes after this harvest is we're going to be making bundles of them. So we make bundles of roughly about 20 pieces for our small bundles and roughly about 60 pieces for our big bundles. And we just basically put those together. We cut off a little bit of the bottom just to make sure that the bundle of scapes is aesthetic and it's flat. And we put an elastic on it. And then we sell those at the farmer's market. And garlic scapes are really great to use in a pesto. You can use it with some olive oil, pine nuts, Parmesan cheese is like the classic recipe for pesto. You can actually replace your pine nuts with sunflower seeds because they're a lot cheaper and they still give you a good flavor. But apart from pesto, scapes are really versatile. You can barbecue them, you can pan fry them. They're great in like a salad, a sandwich, or wrap. So make sure that if you're growing garlic, that you don't forget to harvest your scapes.